Good morning, good afternoon, and of course, good evening, traders from across the globe. Welcome to my 2444th edition of Short Term Trading Live with Oscar. Good evening, traders. So today is Wednesday, and it's the second day of a Fed meeting. The Fed already made its announcement, raised interest rates by 75 basis points, and the market went up today on Wednesday. So it is our plight, if you will, to figure out what is supposed to happen on Thursday. Now, traders, remember the risk behind trading. Never trade without stops. Ever. Just always put your stops in first. Today, I broke a trading rule, and I actually traded on a Fed day. It is an omni rule to never trade on a Fed day. So that almost never happens with me. But for some reason, I decided I would trade today, and all of us omniacs got stopped out. And basically, the rule is we don't trade on Fed days. I broke a rule. I got what I deserved. That won't happen again for a long time. But put your stops in, because if we didn't have stops in today, we would have been annihilated. Okay, so for trading on Thursday, that would be July 28th, 2022. We are looking at Fed meeting dates on the E-mini S&P daily bar. All right, so let's go look at them. You know, before we look at these dates, which are marked for us, let me just remind you of something. This is the absolute high the S&P has ever traded in its life, and it happened on January 4th, 2022. Subsequently, on January 4th, 2022, on this day, I came out with a video, and we reinstituted Do Not Fall in Love with the Upside. Do not fall in love with the upside comes back into play. The first video of this year, the first month of this year, Jan 4th. I did a video on this date to explain that there is a drop to follow and about interest rates. So if you go back and look at my YouTube channel, please look at the video date 01/04/22 and see what I was talking about. Basically what we thought would happen ensued, and it was all about interest rates and Fed meetings. So here we are, January 25th through 26th, Fed meeting. They're all listed right here. The Fed had a meeting, they raised rates, and lo and behold, the market went up. So meeting days were 25 and 26. And on the 27th, look at that rally. Very nice, right? Right up to the average, in fact. Next Fed meeting was March 15th to 16th. And what happened? The Fed raised rates, and away we went. Here's the 2 days of the meeting, and away we went. Boom. So when the Fed raises rates, the market goes up. Well, I don't know if that's entirely true. Let's go find out. So for the first two Fed meetings this year, when they raised rates, markets took off for the next few days afterwards. Now we're going to go take a look at what happens these days. Here's the rest of that chart, and here are the rest of those Fed days, May 3rd through 4th, June 14th through 15th, and July 26th through 27th. So as we know, they raise rates, and so what? The market's not afraid, it goes up in January. March comes around, they raise rates, market's not afraid, goes up. Well, let's go to May. And now crude's over 100 at this point in time. It was not when we were here, by the way. It was cheaper. Makes its way over to over 100. And we have a Fed meeting May 3rd and 4th. May 3rd, May 4th. 2 big green days. The day after the Fed meeting was May 5th, that red bar. This red bar right here is May 5th. May 3rd, May 4th. 2 up days, May 5th, massive drop. Then the next meeting this year shows up, June 14th through 15th. June 14th, here's the date, just so that you can see it for yourself. June 15th. All right, what happens on the 16th, the day after the meeting? Back down we go. But what happens during the meeting? The day of the meeting closes about at the highs of the day. What happens the day of the meeting? Has a big fat rally and closes towards the highs of the day. Now we have the meeting that took place today on Wednesday, the 27th of July, 26th and 27th. We need to know what's going to happen on the 28th, right, on Thursday. Well, according to the new pattern, which started after the second meeting this year, when you raise rates, the market goes up that day, closes near or at the highs, and the next day it tanks. All right? Same thing here, June meeting. Goes up, boom, boom, all the way up. Fed meeting, the very next day, down we go. July, this meeting, today's meeting. For tomorrow, the repetitive pattern is back down we should go. That's the repetitive pattern. Let me darken this in, let me make it red, make it so pretty, but that's the repetitive pattern for now. That's where we think the market should end up. Now, the likelihood is that it will open and it will probably rally up and hit this average. Probably rally up a little and hit this average. But according to what we've seen, which is a repetitive pattern, we should go down on Thursday, kids. So, this is one of the rare occasions in my life that I will not take an Omni trade today. The Omni says, wants me to be a buyer. I'm not going to sell by any means. I'm just not going to take the Omni trade. So, if the market stays in its repetitive pattern, it heads back down on Thursday. If we don't trade, it doesn't matter. We'll figure out what to do on Friday. There is one more chart that I think is important, so let's go look at it. Remember the Ethereum cup and handle chart that we had sitting here? Ethereum, and I said to you, listen, I don't call many cup and handles. You look at the 3,444, 2,444 videos on YouTube, you'll find 8 cup and handles in 15 years. So I don't call them very often. When I see them, they are what they are. So I said, Investors Business Daily, love them to death, great newspaper, but they tend to call cup and handles every time there's any kind of a dip that heads back up. I'm very rare. 8 times in 15 years, this, my friends, is a cup and handle. Well, I told you that when the cup just finished and there was 1 bar in the handle. Now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bars inside the handle, and if the analysis on the S&P turns out to be wrong and there's no repetitive pattern, and the S&P takes off again tomorrow, which we don't expect, and heads up, Ethereum will break out of this handle. If the S&P heads down tomorrow, I think Ethereum will go to the bottom of the handle and put in a bar more like this, staying within the handle. If the S&P explodes and by the end of the day on Thursday is not starting to move lower, you will have this in Ethereum. If the S&P does turn around and follow its repetitive pattern on the way down after a Fed meeting, you will get that. So that's what I wanted to show you. I'll be in my live trading room at all times, livewithoscar.com. Come join me there. There's no credit cards required, no nonsense. And hang out with me and I'll explain what we're doing, how we do it, and I'll share my knowledge with you. Please subscribe to my videos. Subscribe to my channel right now. Please subscribe, traders. I've got way less subscribers than I deserve. This is fantastic analysis, but I don't do any advertising, so if you don't find me here on YouTube, you'll never know I exist. So please subscribe to my channel now, and at least we'll get you as a subscriber. Remember, Ethereum has one of 2 things tomorrow. Up following S&P if S&P breaks code and goes up, or fill in another bar in the handle if S&P does the repetitive pattern on the way back down. Traders, be careful out there. Put your stops in first and say this to yourselves every day. It'll help. Stops are in. Emotions are out. Thanks for tuning in, kids. Be safe out there, and I will see you all at livewithoscar.com.